everyone, it's Miss P, and this week we are singing along to the book Kamala Harris, Rooted in Justice. Just last week, Kamala Harris made history when she was sworn in as Vice President of the United States of America. Vice President Harris is the first woman, first Black person, and first South Asian person to hold this office in our country. To celebrate this momentous occasion in history, we are going to learn about the life of Vice President Harris, as well as learn the song, Ain't Gonna Let Nobody Turn Me Around. Ain't Gonna Let Nobody Turn Me Around is a freedom song. Freedom songs were the songs sung during the Civil Rights Movement. And we are singing this particular song to celebrate all of the times Vice President Harris kept going in the face of adversity, and to remind us that if we just don't turn around from our dreams and goals, we can achieve anything. Before we start singing, let's learn a little history about the song. Ain't Gonna Let Nobody Turn Me Around was sung in the Southern Black churches for years before it was finally published. In 1927, the violinist and composer Clarence Cameron White published it for the first time. Then it was called Don't Let Nobody Turn Me Around. A fun fact about the composer is that both he and Vice President Harris are alumni of the HBCU, Howard University. HBCU stands for Historically Black Colleges and Universities. Ain't Gonna Let Nobody Turn Me Around became part of the Civil Rights Movement in 1962 when Reverend Ralph David Abernathy introduced it to a congregation that he was meeting with to address the mass arrests and demonstrations happening in their town of Albany, Georgia that summer. Quickly, the song spread through the Civil Rights Movement, and soon you could hear it at marches, boycotts, and sit-ins across the country. Many people don't know this, but Reverend Abernathy was a crucial part of the Civil Rights Movement and was MLK's right-hand man and most trusted friend. Freedom songs have a tradition of repeating the same verse several times, but one or two words gets changed with each new verse. This is so that singers can describe what's happening at the present moment with the song and make it apply. In the case of Ain't Gonna Let Nobody Turn Me Around, the word that gets changed is nobody. As we learn this original verse, I would like you to think about a change in the world that you would like to make. And then think about what word would you put in the song to make it apply to addressing that challenge. As we learn the original verse, Miss P will go first and you will copy me. At the beginning of each verse, you will hear this cue. And that tells you that it's time to sing. Listen to how Miss P does the first line, then you'll copy. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. Your turn. Nice work. Next part, turn me around, turn me around. Good job. Then the second part starts like we began. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking. Last part. Marching up to freedom land. Your turn. Nice work, y'all. You sound amazing. Let's put the first verse all together at the same time. Miss P will play you a little intro to get us started. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna gonna keep on a-walking, keep on a-talking, marching up to freedom land. Nice job, y'all. Now let's look at verse 2. We're gonna change out nobody with no hatred. Everything else stays exactly the same. Ain't gonna let no hatred turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let no hatred turn me around. I'm gonna keep on a-walking, keep on a-talking, marching up to freedom land. Excellent job. Finally, for the third verse, we will change the word to injustice. This is a lyric you would have heard a lot during the civil rights movement. It also applies directly to our book, Kamala Harris, Rooted in Justice. Justice means fairness and is something that is very important to our vice president. Injustice means the opposite of fairness, which is unfair. So when we sing this song, what we mean is that when life is unfair, and it will be sometimes, we aren't going to let anyone or anything turn us around or stop us from achieving our goals and dreams. Let's sing verse 3 together. Ain't gonna let injustice turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let injustice turn me around. I'm gonna keep on a-walking, keep on a-talking, marching up to freedom land. Excellent singing, y'all. Wow, y'all really sound amazing. Now that we know how to sing the song and why we sing the song, it's time to put it with the book. When you see Miss P pop up, that's your cue that we're about to start singing. Just follow along, have fun, and enjoy the story. Kamala Harris, Rooted in Justice, written by Nikki Grimes and illustrated by Laura Freeman. Eve slammed the door when she got home from first grade. Eve, you know we don't slam doors in this house, her mom said. What's going on? Teacher asked what we wanted to be when we grew up, and I said president, and Calvin said, girls can't be president, stupid. Well, he's wrong, said her mother. Girls can grow up to be president. In fact, a girl from right here in Oakland hopes to be president one day. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on a-walking, keep on a-talking, marching up to freedom land. Life is a story you write day by day. Kamala's begins with a name that means lotus flower. See how her beautiful smile opens wide like petals fanning across the water's surface? But you don't see the flower's roots, her roots. They grow deep, deep, deep down. Let me show you. Kamala's family line was a strong black and brown braid coiling from India, where her mother Shamala was born, to Jamaica, where her father Donald was born, to Berkeley, California, where her parents fell in love and married, to Oakland, where Kamala was born. It was a good beginning. Is this like Once Upon a Time? Not exactly, said Eve's mom. This story is true. Right away, Kamala was like clay her parents molded for action. When her mother wasn't hunting cures for cancer and her father wasn't teaching, both marched for civil rights and went to lectures by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Kamala was right there, too, bouncing along in her stroller, chewing on her pacifier and words like peace and justice. What's justice? Eve asked her mom. Justice is another word for fairness. Once, when tiny Kamala was fussing, her mother couldn't figure out what was the matter. "What do you want, little girl?" she asked. "Freedom," said Kamala, and a waterfall of laughter sputtered from her mother's mouth. At demonstrations, marchers often chanted, "What do we want?" And the answer was always, "Freedom!" Little Kamala had been listening. Kamala's baby sister Maya screamed her way into the world when Kamala was 2. In no time, the sisters were having faraway adventures together, like visiting their grandparents in Zambia. Grandfather P.V. Gopalan was a senior diplomat there. He had once fought for India's independence. His wife Rajam, Kamala's grandmother, fought for the rights of women. Little by little on these visits, Kamala and Maya learned that fighting for justice ran in the family. Ain't gonna let injustice turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let injustice turn me around. I'm gonna keep on a-walking, keep on a-talking, marching up to freedom land. Sadly, when Kamala was 7, her family squeezed into a different shape. Her parents divorced, and her daddy moved to Palo Alto, while Mommy and the girls packed for the Flatlands, the black working class area in Berkeley. Having a long-distance daddy can make your heart hurt, but Kamala's new neighbors welcomed her family with smiles and helping hands, warm as sunshine. Still, Kamala was sometimes lonely for her daddy. Luckily, her godmother, Aunt Mary, lived close by and gave Kamala extra hugs whenever she needed them. Like other black and brown kids in the Flatlands, Kamala was part of a California program to integrate the schools. Every day she rode a yellow bus, bumping through familiar city streets, all the way to the wealthy white part of town with sprawling hillsides painted with gardens. Thousand Oaks Elementary was a world away, but Kamala didn't mind. There she got to meet kids who were rich and poor, black and white, kids who celebrated holidays she had never even heard of. There, teachers taught her to count to 10 in many different languages. After school, Kamala's days bulged with busyness. She had homework, piano lessons, ballet classes, and Barbie playtime. Thursday nights were the best, though. The family would go to the Rainbow Sign, a cultural center celebrating black art, music, books, and film. James Baldwin spoke there, Maya Angelou read there, and Nina Simone sang there. Nina's gravelly voiced version of "To Be Young, Gifted, and Black" often rang through Kamala's home. The more she heard this favorite song, the more Kamala thought, "I'm young, gifted, and black too." Ain't gonna let no hatred turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let no hatred turn me around. I'm gonna keep on a-walking, keep on a-talking, marching up to freedom land. On Sundays, when they weren't visiting their father, Kamala and Maya rocked from side to side at the 23rd Avenue Church of God, where they tapped tambourines and sang as part of the children's choir. "Fill My Cup, Lord" was Kamala's favorite hymn. The church was where she learned the Bible, that God asks us to speak up for those who can't, to defend the rights of the poor and needy, like some lawyers do. Her Uncle Sherman was that kind of lawyer. Maybe someday Kamala could be one too. "I don't want to be a lawyer," said Eve. "But I like making sandwiches for the homeless. That's helping too, right?" "Right," said her mom. In her first year of middle school, Kamala would need a lot of faith. She learned a new lesson about change, a lesson dressed in down jackets and mittens. Her family was moving north, where 12 feet of snow and her mother's new job waited in Montreal. "It will be a wonderful adventure," Shamala told her girls, but Kamala grumbled. The thought of leaving her friends in the warmth of sunny California made her shiver. Montreal was no place for a lotus flower. Sighing, Kamala unpacked her new clothes and her old experiences, like marching for change with her mom. One spring day, when the temperature rose enough for outdoor sports, Kamala and Maya marched in front of their apartment building, waving picket signs because kids weren't allowed to play soccer on the front lawn. It wasn't fair, and Kamala cared a lot about fairness. The building manager read Kamala and Maya's signs and changed the rules. Ain't gonna let injustice turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let injustice turn me around. I'm gonna keep on a-walking, keep on a-talking, marching up to freedom land. Kamala adjusted to life in Canada, but memories of her home country still rang her heart like a bell. After graduating high school, she ached to return to America, where her parents had nursed her on the civil rights movement. She couldn't wait to follow in the footsteps of her heroes. Constance Baker Motley, Charles Hamilton Houston, and Thurgood Marshall. Marshall had attended Howard University, and Kamala decided she would too. On her first day at Howard, Kamala turned this way and that, smiling at the faces of students from America, Africa, the Caribbean. It was Thursday nights at the Rainbow Sign all over again, where everyone in the room was black like her. They reminded her of home and the people she wanted to help, the people she wanted to fight for. This university would begin to teach her how. Kamala's time at Howard was focused on the future. She competed on the debate team to sharpen her speaking skills. She interned at the Federal Trade Commission. She did research at the National Archives to study workings of government. And on weekends, she joined fellow students on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. to protest apartheid in South Africa. Kamala was preparing to be a woman warrior. Like Wonder Woman? Asked Eve. No, better, said her mom. Wonder Woman isn't real. Ain't gonna let injustice turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let injustice turn me around. I'm gonna keep on a-walking, keep on a-talking, marching up to freedom land. Nothing matched the magic of her second summer break when Kamala stepped through the doors of the private Senate subway as an intern for Senator Alan Cranston. Kamala could barely hold in the secret of her joy. What could be better than learning from someone whose footsteps echoed in the halls of power every day? After Howard, California called Kamala home to study at Hastings College of the Law. Court cases and contracts filled Kamala's mind, but changing lives filled her heart. Elected president of the Black Law Students Association, Kamala invited major law firms to a job fair so that more black graduates had a fair chance to be hired by the best companies in the country. This work was great practice for Kamala's future. Graduating law school meant there was one more exam to take, the California bar. Without passing it, Kamala could not practice the law. She didn't pass, which taught Kamala something new: failure. It is the toughest teacher, but it can also be the best because it makes you dig down deep and try harder. On the second try, Kamala passed. If at first you don't succeed, said Eve's mom, try again, finished Eve. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on a-walking, keep on a-talking, marching up to freedom land. Kamala was finally ready to climb the mountain of her dreams. First, Deputy District Attorney. Next, the first female District Attorney of San Francisco. Then, the first Black woman Attorney General of California. Peak by peak, she rose, eventually becoming the second Black woman voted into the U.S. Senate. Lawyer, prosecutor, senator. The little girl named Lotus Flower had turned herself into a person others could call on for help. Did she use magic to turn herself into that person? Asked Eve. No, sweetie. Kamala just used hard work. As senator, Kamala fought for laws to help workers earn more money, joined the Women's March on Washington for equality and civil rights, and telephoned lawyers to help immigrant children who came to America looking for some place safe to live. Each time she answered a call for help, Kamala proved that her family's legacy of public service was alive and well in her. What's a legacy? Asked Eve. It's like the inheritance you leave behind for your children. Kamala had traveled far, but she hadn't finished climbing the mountain of her dreams. On Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, on the TV show Good Morning America, Kamala told the world, "I'm running for President of the United States." She immediately got goosebumps, wondering if Shirley Chisholm, the first Black woman to run for president, was smiling down from heaven at that very moment. Months into the race, Kamala realized that running for president cost more money than she thought, and Kamala's campaign team didn't have enough. She decided to give up her run for the 2020 presidential nomination. Sad to leave the race, Kamala looked forward to all the good work she could still do as Senator Harris. That's okay, said Eve. If at first you don't succeed, try again. Exactly, said her mom. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. Will Donald and Shamala's daughter ever get to call the White House home? Only God knows. Kamala Harris is still writing her American story. And so are you. At the end of the book, the author asks us if we think Kamala Harris will ever make it to the White House. And as of last Wednesday, January 20th, 2021, I am very proud to tell you that yes, she did. Because Kamala Harris never turned around on her goals or her dreams, she is now Vice President of the United States of America. I hope her story and the song Ain't Gonna Let Nobody Turn Me Around reminds you never to turn your back or to turn around on your dreams and goals, because you can achieve anything. And especially to all you girls out there, now you know for sure that a woman can be vice president, and one day we're going to have a woman president of the United States of America. Could it be you?